right, I want to make another tutorial. I'm not making too many tutorial videos, but to me, just when you hear someone's voice and see their face and see it kind of mapped out, it kind of helps to, in my opinion, it just helps to it helps to keep up and helps to keep, this face-to-face interaction seems to be a little bit more helpful. So I'm going to go ahead and just do a quick tutorial on creating an outline, because we want to go into outlining now that we are in this week. This week is outlining our essay, and then next week we'll be writing our essay. All right, the beginning of next week will be a draft. Make sure that we have a draft by the end to the beginning of this week, that we are starting the first draft of our essay, which again could be just a one-page draft, and then we can expand it into 2 pages. Or a page is 350 words, so that's about 700 words total. So if we have about 400 words to begin with for a first draft, and that is perfectly fine. All right, so let's look. I'm gonna share my screen and create an outline. Share my screen. All right, so to create an outline, there's a couple ways to do it. That's weird. There's a couple ways to do it, but I'm just going to do on a piece of paper here. And there's some certain things that I would like for us to turn in with our outline. There's some certain things that I would like for us to hit with our outline, but not quite as many. Anyway. So here we have, this is how I like to begin my essay. And there's actually there's some things written about staring at a blank screen. You don't want to stare at a blank screen wondering where to go with your essay. All right. So let's always have some kind of words. Let me make sure it's no spacing, Times New Roman. I'm kind of weird about my font. I don't think Calibri is a very pretty font, but anyway, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger too. All right, so this is what I begin. I begin by breaking everything down into the paragraphs that I'm going to make. And here is my thesis. I have pictures of it from my person class, so let's see. All right, so I have my thesis statement. You're more than welcome to use my thesis statement and plug in your ideas into that. It's perfectly fine with me. I thought I put matured. I don't like developed, I like matured. All right, and there's my thesis, the space there. There's my thesis, my introduction. We'll talk about that here in just a second. But here's my thesis statement. Wednesday matured through the generations with her style and personality because of cultural influences. So style is going to be, I'm going to go ahead and put it in maybe blue ink, maybe a darker blue ink, because this is going to be my body 1. So body 1, also blue. Personality is going to be my body 2. Maybe make it dark green over here, maybe make it green. So body 2 is going to be all about personality. And then body 3 is going to be about because of cultural influences. All right, so there's number 3. Now you can do a little bit, let's see, maybe an orange. Yeah, that's okay. Now you don't have to do the because of, you can just do Wednesday matured through the generations with her style and personality and friendships. You can do just a word and have and style, personality, and friendships or something like that. As long as we are practicing this 3-point thesis statement, right? So body 1, I should really call it point 1, 3-point thesis statement. There really are points instead of body paragraphs, because when we get into Comp 2 and we start making these into 2 paragraphs each, 1 point, 2 paragraphs, and it gets a little hard to think of them as body paragraphs. So let's just think of them as point. So I know that my essay is going to have a thesis statement, a facts and description paragraph, 3 points, and a conclusion. All right. So the facts and what we'll say here, we'll say with the thesis. All right. So the next thing that I want to do is I'm going to come down to my points. So I kind of like Netflix's Wednesday. Now, notice too, it's grammatically correct to either put quotation marks, or you can italicize. What is italicize Wednesday? Because it is the title of a show, right? Netflix Wednesday. So I'm not talking about her, I'm talking about the actual show. Netflix is Wednesday, which I'm kind of talking about both. You know what? I don't want to complicate it, but I really am talking about more of her as a person and less as the show. So Netflix is Wednesday. Matured, showed maturity. Showed maturity through her style, right? That's my first point. My second point, which hopefully is in green. Nope. I want you to be in green. My second point Wednesday's personality also showed maturity. That's not the same shade of green, so it's kind of driving me crazy. All right, Wednesday's personality also showed maturity. And then my third point, I don't want to put influence as influenced. Culture influenced Wednesday's maturity, right? So I have my 3 points. Make sure they're actually in the same colors here. So I have my 3 points here, point 1, point 2, and point 3. And those are just going to be the very first sentence of my body paragraphs. So the very first sentence of my body paragraphs, I can't do this 18. I'm sure I can see it needs to be at 12. So the very first, we just zoom in, there we go. The very first sentence of each of my body paragraphs are going to start with a point. And that point needs to reflect back to the thesis statement. A lot of times students will make a really good 3-point thesis statement, and then we get to down to their body paragraphs and they do not correlate with that point. All right, and this really is all that you need to turn in. Now for conclusion actually restates the thesis. That is something like, all right, so we restate that thesis statement down here. And this is really all that you need to turn in. It would help you tremendously if you went ahead and put a facts and description, right? And I think it was 2023, but I'm not sure. Let's see, it's 2024. Was it last? It was 2022. I'm just going to put 2022. Tim Burton. Tim Burton, for the produced, it's fine. Directed. It was the director. Now, this is where we want to, so I was referring to her as a person down here, but this is where we want to reflect it as a TV series. So it needs to be either italicized or have quotation marks around it. So a new Wednesday featuring all right. So we need a facts and description paragraph because we don't want our introduction to be the facts and description. We do not want our introduction to go into who is Wednesday Addams and what did she do. Our introduction needs to be about something along the lines of probably just more than American, but more of her history. All right, so if you're asking, well, what's the difference between the introduction and the facts and description? My facts and description is only going to be about my leading example. So if your leading example is Creed and you're going to bring Rocky in, that's perfectly fine, but we need a facts and description of what is Creed, right? Up here, it can have a little bit about Rocky and all that, but the facts and description and the intro are two completely different types of writing. There's other ways you can introduce. If you want to use some first person, you can go into so there's some different ways you can tackle this, but it doesn't, as long as we are introducing her history here and then giving facts and description about our specific example here, that's really more of an academic way to write this. All right, so what we need whenever you turn in an outline, you don't need the introduction. I'm just going to kind of turn that gray. You don't need the introduction. You just need a thesis, a full sentence 3-point thesis statement. Some might do a holistic thesis statement, and I will accept it. A facts and description would help you a lot, but it's not really necessary. I just want to know your thesis statement, your 3 points that you're going to make sure they're not too broad or too narrow or too off point. And then you can restate the thesis in the conclusion. All right, and I would like the words, introduction, thesis, facts and description. Let's try to have these words here. I have them underlined. Let's try to have these words here. So that way I know that you know, I know that you know how to guide your essay, right? Where your essay is going, how your essay is being guided. So let's make sure that you have these. I don't care if they're underlined and not underlined. I don't care if they're, I'm going to save this and upload it to this week. Oh, not italicized, underlined. But here is, and I'll go ahead and keep this where you can read it a little bit, but just so you can see that there is a difference between the introduction, and I'll keep it a light gray. So you can kind of see that there is a difference between the introduction and the facts and description paragraph, but we want to introduce your character's history and not just your character. So introduce the character's history. And then when we get to the facts and description, your leading example. All right. So character's history from the 1960s to now, down to the thesis statement, down to your facts and description. All right. So I hope this helps. I'm going to upload. This is all that you need for an outline. Now you can put more in here. And if you're wondering what I mean by cultural influences, because we talked about this just in class, and I may have talked about it online, I meant things like Harry Potter. We can start doing a 3A Harry Potter, right? 3B cultural influence of Twilight. There might be a couple more. There's kind of a little bit of Percy Jackson, right? Because there really isn't anything new. It might seem a little new, but there really isn't anything new. So that's what I mean by cultural influences that I think really changed who Wednesday is and her maturity level. And we have some, this Twilight idea of her having a boyfriend, Percy Jackson idea of the monsters in the water and whatnot, kind of made her who we are. So that's what I mean. Right. And her personality, you can start, you can start doing these things if you want to. It would help you tremendously if you start getting some minor points in there, like, what do you mean? But she was wrong. And I want to bring a specific example in there, right? She was wrong a few times. Of her brother Pugsley. Like, I can keep on going about her, but her personality here. I don't know if I want to go into that one. I like to be just a little bit deeper in my points. But anyway, that's just me. But anyway, you can start doing these subpoints if you want to. Like, how did her style, I don't want to make this video too long, but how did her style mature, her dress and makeup? Right? So showed some maturity through there. So you're more than welcome to start doing, you know, these subpoints, and you're more than welcome to make it in color. That might help you tremendously to make this in color, that in color, and know that this is a body paragraph. This is a body paragraph, and that's a body paragraph whenever I go to type it. And I will make another video where I take what I'm doing here and change it over to an essay. All right, well, I don't want to make this video too long. I just wanted to do a quick how to outline your essay and upload your outlines to Brightspace. You go to Activities and then Assignments, and then you'll find where you can turn in the outline. All right, let me know if you have any questions.